When it comes to the extraordinary danger posed by the problem of the drug known as fentanyl, few people know the problem like my next guest. Protecting law enforcement is their job. Mike Wiseman is the operations manager for 24 Trauma, and Matthew Gutwill is with the New England DEA clandestine lab team. Welcome to both of you. Thanks for coming in. What are the dangers that law enforcement are facing now with fentanyl that they didn't have before?
Well, their job has changed. They can't do their jobs like they used to before. Now they have to take precautions because everything they do can be life-threatening.
And what are the challenges that they now see when they're trying to respond to a call?
When they respond to the call, they have to look at the hazards of what put that person down on the ground. If it's an overdose, they have to worry about a contamination for themselves. They have to worry that if that person was snorting or injecting, did that product go airborne? Is there a cross-contamination potential? As they're doing CPR or rescuing, they have to worry about also contaminating themselves.
Now, I've seen some of the images of the outfits and the hazmat suits provided. I can't imagine that there's tons of budget money available for police departments to have to suit up every single police officer with a hazmat suit.
It's actually a great point. They don't actually have it in their budgets. They're trying to get some money out there now. We've been in the forefront of donating and helping out our partners in law enforcement that we've had relationships with for a long time. And actually, we've been donating kits to many departments throughout the state and the state of New Hampshire.
Things that seem so disturbing is that obviously you're a police officer and you're in law enforcement, you're entering into dangerous situations, but it seems so hard to detect when you are entering into a fentanyl dangerous situation. You could just be pulling over a car, you could just be letting your dog investigate a car, right? It's very difficult.
Well, for law enforcement, one of the most dangerous and nerve-wracking things to do is actually stop a car.
Right.
You're getting the unknown. But now you add in the fact that, all right, as you go approach a car and that car may have some powder in it, you now have to worry, is it fentanyl? And officers have to prepare themselves for that. Officers are now going to have to take extra precautions. Instead of wearing one set of gloves, we're going to be wearing nitrile gloves with an additional 13-inch glove on top of it. If we're going to don a mask, we're going to have to put eye protection on. And we may have to go up into a Tyvek suit. And then if it's really contaminated, we're going to have to go up to the next level, which would be a full suit with the air, with the mask. And then if it's more contaminated, we have to call out the clan lab team, or we have to call out a hazmat situation. And then when we're done with these cars, even though we take the evidence that we need, these cars are still contaminated. These hotel rooms that we go to where people overdose in, we don't clean all the product out of there. We have to call in someone else to come and clean that out too. So these dangers are for the general public too.
And this is a whole nother level of training that law enforcement is required to have now, right?
It is, law enforcement and anyone dealing with this situation. And hopefully that when this happens in a living situation, they're calling in the right people to clean it up after, which would be us to take care of it.
And you brought in some examples of, it's hard to see, but there's a tiny, minuscule little amount. This is make-believe fentanyl. But
that's 32 grains of salt.
32 grains of salt.
That is a lethal dose of fentanyl right now.
So if a user were to use this and leave some left over and law enforcement or anyone responded and accidentally touches this, accidentally inhales it, this could be lethal.
Well, I don't want to do a public alarm. It could be lethal. The scenarios have to be right. To absorb it, it's not really that easy to absorb it in the palm of my hands. My hands are thick enough. But if the temperatures are hot and I'm sweating, or I use hand sanitizer after I deal with this, yes, it's easier to absorb it. Definitely easy to absorb it if it goes airborne and breathe it in, and definitely in your eyes. But is there every traffic stop when we find a white powder in the car, or every hotel room where we have white powder, it doesn't rise to this big hazmat situation. We have to deal with each scenario as it comes.
And that's where the training comes in.
Absolutely.
What's the message? What's your message?
It's just you have to be careful. You have to treat things differently now. It's not the same old ball game as it was anymore. Everything's at a new level. It really is. We had a situation last week where a police officer was going through some stuff he took from a scene, and he was flipping through a ledger that he seized from a drug bust, and all of a sudden his fingers got tingly, his arm got numb, and he was ODing on fentanyl.
And there's also the threat to the dogs as well. I mean, we all know there are people who like dogs better than people, so we might as well also, but the dogs responding to this also are in danger.
Well, all the canine officers being issued Narcan for the dogs, just like all the officers. All the officers carry 2 of these in their car. Dan Muse, who's the director of the Narcan program for Massachusetts, he authorized all of us to administer this. So each of us carry 2 of these. Some of us carry an additional one, and the canines, a lot of them will carry the ones that are injectables for their dogs. It's dangerous, and you know, our scare right now is the fentanyl, and then we also have carfentanil. You know, fentanyl is 50 to 300 times more potent than morphine. And then you got carfentanil, which could be up to 7,000 times more potent than
What's the website,
morphine.
folks? Can get more information?
We have information on our website at 24trauma.com. They can get some information, and we can always help them with a phone call anytime.
All right, thanks to both of you for coming
Thank you
in.
very
Good
much.
to talk
Thanks for
with you.
having
Thanks
me.
so much.